Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Four, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
Hey, everyone.
So I have internets.
You're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back online. No,
but where were you? Like, because you didn't miss the podcast. Like, what did you miss this week?
So I missed my Twitch stream on Monday night because we just moved over. What is it, Juice? I want to make sure I say it properly. This is
Southern Pines, where Fayetteville is east to us. Fort Bragg is east to us or something. But
so this is not the west side of Bragg.
No,
not even Juice knows where he lives. Southern Pines is in the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
It's it's nice here. It's nice here. So we got the new Beats Lab up and going. We got a little temporary background if you're watching the web.
Well, hold on. The new Beats Lab is now the Thunderdome, is what you guys like to call it.
Yeah, Thunderdome, which is
so that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a new CAT command center.
The CAT command center
has relocated.
And the Fayetteville Beats Lab, which was a subsection of the CAT command center, has now got its own official location at the Thunderdome.
At the Thunderdome, which is in the same area and location as the Eats Lab, which is right around the corner from opening up. It's just when you bite off more than you can chew, when we're like, we're going to do this right and repaint everything, resand everything. I mean, it's a brand new kitchen. I mean, it's unreal. And my pocket is telling me that it's a brand new thing because I've spent way too much damn. I should have just opened it and done a little bit as we go.
I just watched like a Gordon Ramsay Facebook video of him cooking some food, like cooking some salmon.
Yeah. And
I was like, damn, this is so good. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And first off, so I've watched 1 million of all of his, matter of fact, I love them. And they're done at his home in California. And it is, you want to talk about a beautiful kitchen? Yeah, he's got it.
He's got it. And I also love the fact, I love his pants. I love that he's kind of muscular and wears like a white, like undershirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that he has like, I want to say leather pants. Is that his gig? Is that his thing?
Are those leather?
I don't know. It might be.
Like, I think that's his jam, bro. And so he's like, it's when you see him in his own Beats Lab, in his Eats Lab, the Gordon Ramsay's Eats Lab, he's just like into it. He loves cooking. And then at the end of the video, it's like, I should do this for a living. And then it just cuts out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
What gets him is his verbiage also with things. Like, that's one of his niches people don't realize. But like everyone, because I'm a big comment reader on anybody's posts or anything else. And so all his posts or all his comments are either one or two things: people reaming him, saying he's stupid because he didn't wash his hands, or this and this, like saying how they would do it better. So this is why I love haters. This is why we always talk about it is, oh well, we've got haters and people talk about Rob or Juice, whatever. It doesn't matter. Thank you for watching the video and commenting. That's good for us, and so everybody
secretly make you better.
Yeah, 19,000 comments in 2.5 hours Gordon Ramsay gets, and half of them, 9,000 of them, 8,500 are how bad he is and how he needs to be better. But so the other is like, oh, I love how he says tomato, some tomato paste, or
so it's like literally like 9,000.
Basil.
I love his. I don't even care what he's cooking. I just love this.
Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I love the way he says basil, or I love the way he says this. So it's hilarious. But what if you haven't already, stop over and check out some of his videos. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love the guy. He's
so basically the new Southern Pines Eats Lab is going to be on Gordon Ramsay's California Eats Lab level, is what we're saying.
Oh, absolutely. Except mine's going to be, the Eats Lab will be an hour and a half long. Just imagine if you could talk to Gordon Ramsay the entire time and like ask him questions and do things. And that's what it's going to be. It's beautiful, man. Let me tell you what, I'm really impressed with what the guys have done and how we're getting it there. So the main thing on the docket this weekend is we are redoing all the cabinets. Cabinets are done, redoing the tabletops, all the countertops. So as soon as the countertops are done, the floor gets done, and then we put all the equipment in, and we're ready to go.
I didn't even recognize the place. when I first walked in, I was like, wait, is this the same place? Like, and it's not even, it's X percentage done. And I was like, wow, this place looks amazing already.
But you did also get, well, like that had to get on pause because the new Beats Lab is here. You guys already filmed a couple battle reports in the new Thunderdome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're already out on the longword.net. I think they're already spilling over to YouTube, right?
Yeah, the first one did. Yep.
So that's big. That's big news. This whole operation is getting a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, no, it's good. We've definitely condensed a lot of things, and hopefully, weather willing, I won't be missing a Twitch stream again. We had a really crazy storm go through with a lot of lightning and stuff, all across North Carolina for the most part.
Flash flooded Aberdeen, North Carolina. I think it was some ridiculous amount of waterfall in a short amount of time.
You guys ever see that meme where it's like the parking lot's flooded out and they're like, never mind who installed the drains, who built that fence? And it's like this dude's wooden fence that's like on his side of the fence. It's his yard. There's no water like coming through his wooden fence. It's like, who built that fence?
Yeah, I think Jesus Christ himself came down and did that. Made sure that was the way it needed to be. On a side note, I don't want to get too distracted because we got a lot to go over, but one cool feature that we're going to be doing with the Eats Lab, actually we need to come up with a full name of the entity because the Beats Lab is one of the rooms and then the Eats Lab, but the main master bedroom.
The Thunderdome is the location, and so you have the Beats Lab and Eats Lab.
Oh, thank you for clarifying that. And so we are actually going to refurnish the entire master bedroom. That's all getting redone. It's almost going to look bed and breakfast style. And it is going to be there to host people that maybe want to fly over from across the way, like our boys Jesse James and Stoner Steve. If people want to come crash, they literally have an exclusive pad specifically for them, or you want to come and do some battle reports with us. We've got a place for it. Maybe we fly you out or, and sell tickets to come in and be on the Eats Lab, record a battle report.
Dinner and a show.
40K bed and breakfast.
40K bed and breakfast for the entire weekend and kick it. Rob and I are in the same town now. So, I mean, there is a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, so when a ticket's going up and calendar is going to get like dates, like when.
It's sooner than later. Hopefully, right around the same time we launch the first show. I'd like to announce it, but it is definitely a thing, and it's going to be 3 to 4 weekends out of the year, and so it's going to be an exclusive thing. It's going to be an all-inclusive package where you get to pick the menu that we do on the Eats Lab TV show. You get to basically be the director and tell us what games we're going to be playing for the Beats Lab. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll go out and play some golf if that's what you're into on the Saturday. So out of the 3-day event, because the Eats Lab will be on Thursday. So man, there's a lot going on, man. It's an exciting time, and obviously all this new 8th edition stuff is unreal.
Right to bring it back. Tabletop Marketplace, go.
Wait to bring it back. All right. So this week hitting stores will be the new lineup of Space Marines. So we've got kit-wise, the new Aggressors box, the new Reavers box, the new Redemptor Dreadnought, set of dice. Everybody's chips are going off right now. The Space Marine Codex itself for $50. The data cards, which are not the data sheets. It's just stuff like the relics, stuff like the psychic powers, all the, accessories to the actual rules themselves will be the data cards, not the data sheets, not the 85 data sheets in there, unfortunately. But they are that little playing card size, it looks like. So that's kind of cool. So kudos to Games Workshop for making them a little bit better of a size for us to actually use in game instead of those larger cards that I don't think are that usable. So the Aggressors, 3 box of 3 is $50. The Reavers, $60. Redemptor Dreadnought, $65. The dice, of course, are $20. That seems to be pretty standard for them. And the new Game Aids, the data cards are $15. There's also a collector's edition Basic, which is $80, and a Primaris edition of the Codex, which is $250. Of course, those are web only, but they will be, if not already sold out, I'm sure sold out in a very short time on Games Workshop US side. Going on pre-order right after that, on this Saturday will be the new repulsor tank for $80. And two of the characters, of course, you've got the apothecary and the new chaplain, both for $35 each. Boom, boom, boom. So we got Marines. I would imagine, like I said, we'll probably see the General's Handbook. We might see a 3-week release window for Marines, but right now it looks like at least 2. But we know there's other stuff out there they've shown. There are more miniatures. It looked like there was a captain and a couple of other things that we know there's a flyer, perhaps, at least fluff-wise, there's a flyer for him.
I like flyers.
Oh, yeah. So there could be more stuff on the way. I could see them sneaking into a 3-week release, and then we'll cut over to some Age of Sigmar because there is some potential there. And we know the General's Handbook's coming out. Who knows what else they'll be coming out with as well right around that time. As far as 8th edition in general, everybody pat themselves on the back. It seems to be overall from a product launch and a product sales standpoint, a huge success with.
I am patting myself on the back.
Multiple things. Yeah. You yourself included. You've been picking up lots of models, Kenny. Just stuff selling out all over the place. I've been
buying models. I've been commissioning painters to paint them for me. I've been doing all sorts of stuff economically in this industry.
Would you say you're working out those hobby muscles?
I work out the hobby muscles, but I gave up on painting my own armies. I will never paint my own army again.
I think I'm very close to that same point because
it just doesn't line up with where our jobs are at anymore.
No, it's not. People are like, "Oh, you got the best thing in the world." I was like, "Yeah, but you still need to put that on pause and go do something else." Like just moving into this new property here. My new current hobby is picking up my yard.
Yeah. That's not smart. Rob was like, "Yo, I'm gonna buy this yard equipment." I was like, "You could just pay people to do that."
Literally, so funny story with that is I haven't obviously painted my own army for a long time now because time is just short and I don't truly enjoy it. But with that yard work, so Allie and I, my fiance, moved in together, and I was like, "Look, just so you know, I'm a lot of things. I have a lot of talents. Changing my own oil, doing yard, it ain't my thing. It's not like I can't do it. I just choose not to, and it's not because I'm lazy." But she's like, "Oh, well, I'll just do it. I'll do it." Okay, cool, no worry. I sat on that for a while, right? Next thing I know is like she realized how busy we are, running multiple businesses, going here, just nonstop. And so like 3 weeks straight, we're catering, we're doing this, we're keeping over the house. She's back in school, all the things going on. And the first Sunday that we have free, right? I look over to her and I'm like, we're in bed. I'm like, "Are you ready to go do yard work?" Mm-hmm. She's like, "Hell no." I said, "Okay, well, now you understand why I always just say I will just pay someone to do it. I will always keep $50 aside for yard work and for my oil changes."
Well, I don't want to sound like, I'm doing all this crazy stuff. My commitment level to this is I bought a leaf blower to blow the pine needles off the pavement and a grabby claw to pick up the pine cones to throw them out back.
You can't even pick the pine cones up with your own hands. You got to buy.
Why would I bend over?
You're better than I am. I'm like, that stuff is biodegradable. I don't pick it up.
Through time, it will just deal with itself.
Real talk. Planet Earth has got this.
Yeah.
Nah, I feel like I feel like I'm gonna actually pick them up and throw them out. But Austin and Kinder were down helping move, and we did some battle reports with them. And they realized that you could get up on top of my roof very easily. He's like, "Yo, you want to workaholics?" And I was like, "Oh my god, he totally could get up on the roof and just like drink a couple of beers and stuff." I was like, "Ooh,
yeah, Robbie B can do that."
Or you can be like Americans and just drink beer on your couch because there's AC.
Yeah, definitely right now. I'm not going outside.
This is not good ideas during that. Like November, October, I'm with it. Let's get up there. It's kind of chilly out. Not right now. I am.
Nope. No, sir. I go outside. I walk to the car and I'm like, I'm already sweating. What is going on? Don't like it.
So let's talk about what's happened with this ATC. So a lot has happened, right?
Well, right before we get to that, though, I wanted to chime in about, did you guys see the retro commercial GW put out for the General's Handbook?
That thing was pretty neat. It was kind of
yeah, if you haven't seen it, like hop on the internet and look for this. It's like a 80s. It's shot in 4:3 aspect ratio. It looks like a taping, like somebody taped their TV off of VCR. like someone filmed something off of their VCR, and it's super retro, and it's actually really, really funny.
No, it's very well done, and I think Games Workshop as a on the promotion side and the social media side is making amazing gains, amazing strides. And I was a little disappointed personally in the GW investor reports that they just put out, where they kind of came up. They're like, okay, well, here was our goals for 2016, 2017. And they listed all this stuff and stuff that they're looking forward to doing for the next year. And there was basically nothing in there about the promotions and the advertising side, that they were even trying to do stuff, or even that, hey, we're making good grounds, on social media and all these things and promotions with all, the presenters and the paid actors and all these guys. And, I was a little disappointed. I was like, man, they're doing such a good job. Why didn't they, put something in the financial report about that? And it seems rather relevant. Like, hey, we're trying this new thing and it looks to be working. Thumbs up. But yeah, thumbs up to them. Definitely. Like these commercials and these little.
Yeah, it's awesome. I just checked it out.
These little teasers are great, man. They really get people hype, and especially brings attention to things that people may not realize. Like, hey, there's these allies. We're putting allies and back to Age of Sigmar, or well, I guess they were in fantasy, but now they're going back to Age of Sigmar. So that's really cool to see. The things that you couldn't take before, now you can take in certain armies, like the Gargants, and stuff like that. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I was thinking about the Long War doubles for Adepticon. Obviously we don't know what we're going to do, but we do a doubles event. That's like our thing, right? Mm-hmm. Think about how easy it is to run a doubles event now with just factions and keywords.
Yep.
Like, it's friendly model, faction keywords. Like, that's, what I'm saying? Like, and so
much easier.
And so, like, if anything's ever in question about how ability works, it's always going to tell you how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be so fun. I can't wait to, dig into the rules as we get closer to the event and finally figure out what we're going to do.
Speaking of rules too, obviously this might be a little bit of old news at this point, but after the ATC event, basically everybody at the ATCs, all of those games were de facto playtest games for Games Workshop. When we saw them.
What's the math on it? 300 people, 5v5, 6 rounds. Is that like 1,600 games? What is that?
I'll go with your
Juice, figure it out for me.
Yeah, I got you.
So
they had 54 teams was the official, right?
No, 58.
58. Okay.
58 teams. So yeah, figured out. But that's how many games.
2 seconds.
That's how many games.
That's
40K
at least hundreds.
It's definitely higher than that. Like, it's got to be higher than that.
Maybe 1,000. Maybe 8,000.
Hundreds. We'll see.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about. So the first real official gangster playtest finally happened. The real beta test. 5 hardcore dudes versus 5 hardcore dudes, all playing with lists, with faction restrictions, bringing the hardest lists, trying to counter each other. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, the results were posted. Like, we know what team won. We know what armies were most prevalent.
870.
870 games of 40K, so almost 1,000. I had it back. See, I thought it was 1,600.
Hundreds.
I did my math wrong because I'm bad at math. I'm not a math scientist. So at the end of the day, though, we have like the top 5 individual people, like of that whole room of people. These are the 5 guys who did the best, and they're all on the top teams. That's typically, except with usually there's someone who usually be on that list who was not on one of the top 10 teams because they, as they were able to be their primary defensive army, attacker army throughout the rest of the tournament. But the story was Flyers are good, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Flyers were good.
So first place and second place for Flyer armies, right? If individual people, right? Of actual, because this is a team event, but we had a Stormraven army and a Hemlock Ray Fighter or Fighter army, right? Those were 1 and 2, weren't they?
Yes.
And then Razor Flock was like the third hardest shit, right?
Yeah. So yes, for factions, you're talking about who won best faction. Yes, people pretty much from every one of their own factions represented. If there was a way to shove 5 to 11 Flyers in it, it won best faction. If it was, Razor Wing Flock, it won. it proved that Gene Stealer Colt was phenomenal when you run 100 Austin A-Dog won best Gene Stealer Colt with 100 Gene Stealers. So
I'm actually looking it up because I think that list I was quoting was the top 5 single people, not the top 5 factions.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
It's like, no, they also track each individual's overall score.
Yeah, it was Bradchester was 1, and then Welch was a demon player. I can't remember Mike Welch.
Michael Welch, yep.
Yeah, he was playing demons. I think it was Magnus and that, and then also Charles. God, I think it was Charles. He was playing the 9 Hemlock Wraith Fighters. Aaron Along won. He had 119 points, one off of Max with Storm Ravens.
So there it is. I mean, so the name of the game was Flyers are really good. Really, really good. Spamming Flyers is really strong. Has the ability to crush all its opponents. And out of roughly 800 playtest games, this is the result. That's more than any playtesting that's happened yet. And GW, obviously, it's not a secret anymore. GW already FAQ'd Flyers.
Oh yeah,
they were FAQ'd.
Yeah, Kenny, didn't we call it? And didn't you say before is like pay attention to what happens at the ATC? Some people before the event were like, oh no, because it's such a niche game of an attacker, a defender, of this and this. It's not good things. Like no. Watch it. You've got the greatest minds in 40K here in the States will be attending ATC in some form or fashion on somebody's team. And if there is something broke, a way to exploit it is if there's something, we're going to figure it out. And ATC proved it, and the FAQs obviously address that. As you were saying, Flyers, and then next on the docket was the Razorwing Fly.
Yeah, and it was a simple. I mean, me and Haskell talked about it earlier. Because he plays Flyers too, like I do.
Yep.
Yeah, not to the quantity other people do.
No, but might be the single best way. I want you guys to know. You had the writing was on the wall that something was going to happen to the Flyer game, right? So what do? We speculate on how we think GW is going to fix that. Never in my mind did I think they would do it this way. I don't even think in the conversations I had with people, I don't even think this was one of the options. And wow, what an amazing job.
Clever. Not a debuff, not a buff, not a points change, not a core rules modification. Like the Storm Raven, if you guys don't know, is just as good as it was yesterday, guys. It's not.
Yeah, it's still viable.
It kills models. It's hard to kill. It's a great unit. It's still exactly as powerful. Same points. Nothing there has changed.
Right, and I think that's the genius. That's a twofold genius of how they presented this. They looked at the meta. They came out with a fix for it. But this fix, at least I always personally. And, when we talk about on the show a lot, it's creating these little vacuums by these little tweaks and rules changes and course corrections tend to make the game worse in the long run and over time, which we saw with 6 and 7. But they came out, they're like, nope, it's like this. These don't count as being on the table. Oh my gosh, that was so genius.
For tabling, for wipeout purposes, for tabling purpose, or sudden death, whatever the new rule is, They don't count. They're not on the table. So if you have 5 Storm Ravens and Dante flying around behind them, and Magnus goes 32 inches on turn 1, and the closest person to him is Dante, and then he does 2d6 smite mortal wounds to him, you've been tabled.
Yeah.
But well, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but the genius of this too is that Games Workshop just elevated themselves to the ranks of other organized play companies that have successful track records of organized play. Some of them with 20, 25 years. What year is it now? Almost 25 years in the case of Magic or Wizards of the Coast. These folks actively police the meta and the overall changing game to make it better for not just the top competitive players, which we know are at the top of the competitive food chain, but also at the bottom base, the less competitive, aka casual folks, by putting out this direct FAQ to combat the 2 armies that rose to the top, perhaps in a way that they did not intend, by looking at all those playtest games, that we're talking about at ATCs. I think it was amazing, and write it down in your diary, your hobby diary, dear diary. Today, Games Workshop changed for the better, because it did.
Yeah, and the Razor Flock fix was an easy one too. They're just underpointed, so they doubled the points.
Yep.
So still a good unit, still just as strong as it was before. And so doubling points seems harsh. If you doubled the points of a Stormraven, it's unplayable, right?
Correct. That's exactly where I was just getting ready to go.
But if you double the points of a 6-point model, Juice, on that
7-point model, go into 14.
14 points. That's still 100% playable.
No, it's 100%. And what I wanted to say, lastly, in the caveat on the Stormraven thing, it's like, what they could have just been sloppy, or they could have just been almost having no pulse to the game by saying, we'll fix the Stormraven. Now it's 700 points. But they didn't. They literally came out with the coolest fix possible, right? So they didn't just say it's not runnable, it's not playable. It is super cool, still put it in, and you can do it at the same point cost it was before. Even though, in my opinion, 4 points for Hurricane Bolter is way too under point cost. But either way, the Razorwing Flock, on the other hand, at 14 points, this is still a playable unit. I said it during the podcast, or the webcast, excuse me. In my opinion, I think a 14-point Razorwing Flock is okay. I think 11 would have been probably even better, but this is all nitpicking, and it doesn't truly matter my opinion on the matter, right? So, but the only thing I will say is we are going down a slippery rabbit hole right now when Gene Stealer Cult models, pure strain Gene Stealers, the point cost has changed 3 times since the book has come out. Since the new edition, 3 times. We have changes to tens of 15 more models, than that, between Dreadnoughts and with some of the new stuff that just recently came out with Razorwing Flocks, with a lot of stuff. I am just kind of cautious right now. I'm glad that it's been fixed. I'm good with everything. But man, I hope that we don't get into a 40K where every 3 weeks, because Robbie B, when was the release of 8th edition?
It was June 17th.
So June 17th. That is 6 weeks from today, roughly 5.5 weeks.
There's been a lot of FAQs.
3 FAQs. So the only thing that I'm saying is, and of course, anybody's going to say, and I agree, in the beginning, there's a lot of changes that need to be made. I completely agree with that. Before codexes come out, changes need to be made. I completely agree with that. I'm going to give you as much rope as need be, but just I hope we're not in a situation in 9 months from now, in 10 months from now, when all the codices come out and we're still literally getting 3-week interval point changes after every, it's a little much. So I'm loving it right now. I like to look to the future. Even in my own business, I feel like I have successful businesses. I am not just happy with what I'm doing right now.
But do you remember like Chapter Proof though, right? Haspel, remember those days?
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's not going to be changing that fast. It's going to change that fast right now, but I just don't see that.
But it might keep changing, but as long as
the new codices are going to drop, and they're going to change the meta, because I'm hoping that like when the Grey Knight Codex drops, they fix a lot of the nonsense where all their weapons only do 1 damage, because that hurts. That's that
practically unplayable in 8th edition to have one.
Yeah, you can't. It's very, very hard to pull things off when other people are doing D3 damage.
D3 damage is the fucking joke. 2 damage is where it's at.
Yeah, D3 damage is the bare minimum of like, I don't even like that weapon. It's got D3 damage. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, most of the Grey Knight weapons do like 1 damage, unless you get into close combat, but you'll never make it there. So I'm hoping things change, and as things change in the codices, the meta is going to have to change to keep up, and GW is going to have to keep putting out FAQs, and they're going to still have to put out FAQs for the indexes because stuff's not going to be all updated at the same time. But I feel like that's a good thing. I would rather have a period of rapid and dynamic change until January, and then have a solid game for 2-3 years than just have a churn where there's some new broken thing every time a new dex drops.
Well, okay, so I'm drawing from Magic and FFG, for their complete rules updates, and it's not just for X-Wing or Armada. There's a lot of games they put out errata and updates at certain intervals. I think Games Workshop has to be very cognizant at this point to put out their updates and to allow decent time. Now, traditionally in the past, pretty much 100% in the past, whenever there was a new book that came out or a new FAQ or something like that, there would always be 30 days until it took effect on the tournament scene. Now, Reese and them just basically said, hey, this new FAQ, this is happening right now for Bay Area Open in 6 days or whatever it was. And that's a little heavy-handed in my personal opinion. I don't think stuff like that is good for players.
No, it leaves the question, what really is Frontline Gaming's relationship with GW? Because that to me seems pretty heavy-handed. I feel like they were made. I feel it reeks of like they were forced to make that statement. Because like, when in the history of ever, since we've been playing this game with all these guys like Reese, Frankie, you know, all these people, we've been playing with these guys for what, decades, 2 decades? When in the history of ever has a new FAQ come out 4 days before people start flying into your tournament and you say, that's the fucking FAQ we're using?
Never. It has never happened as far as I remember. And I remember.
And so the only thing I can think of is GW is like, you're using this fucking FAQ.
And I don't. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I think Games Workshop has to be, or just think about it yourself. We've got 9 more Codex books to come out by, they said Christmas, right? Well, we know generally stuff doesn't come out. New releases don't come out in December. They'll put out army boxes and things like that. So you're looking at that many Codex books by the week after Black Friday. Okay. So we've got a lot of ground to cover. And if we're putting out that much new content and that much FAQs every couple of weeks, this is going to be a little intimidating to both new and veteran players. I feel like that's just a little too much. I mean, for me, it's just too much, you know, just because the amount of content that we
comment on this. Remember, we comment this on it from the perspective of competition. It doesn't really matter. You don't fucking have to play the FAQ. You don't.
No, you don't.
This is only for the X amount of people who are going to Bay Area Open. So only this sampling of individuals' lives is going to be affected by this. And then in a week from now, it won't matter. But some people will be mad about it. Some people won't. Some people who really went there to win and paid all this money might feel cheated, but that's the breaks, right? So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter because these 300 people that fly to all the tournaments in the country don't pay GW's bills.
No, they don't. They're the tip of the hobby pyramid.
I feel that GW, you know, like because I've watched the live show, Frontline Gaming's live show, and everything like that. I've seen them talk about like I can't talk about this. I'm an NDA. I plead the fifth, things like that. So I'm like, oh, this makes sense. GW wants to use these types of events as test beds for their FAQs, and they don't really care if they make these 300 people mad.
Well, no,
and
I mean, I can definitely tell you from previous game store owner, you make more sales off the casual players, whether it's Magic, whether it's X-Wing, whether it's Games Workshop, than you do the competitive players, because the competitive players are always at that top. They're looking to game the system, whether it's how to buy miniatures or whether it's how to play the games themselves. And there's always a separation between competitive and non-competitive players. And that's for casuals and competitive. And that's fine. It's never going to change. There's literally the hobby pyramid. And at the base and forming most of that pyramid is the casual gamer. And that is Games Workshop's core customer. I would 100% guarantee.
So GW is willing to let the gamers game the game, but also you're gonna have to play our FAQs on short notice. so then we can create a better chapter approved this year.
Right. And remember too, there's lead times on this stuff. You got 3 months lead time, give or take, from what I understand on a lot of these things. So if you're talking 3 months lead time and, I didn't even count that chapter approved book. That's 10 books. That's 10 books by the end of November or first, week of December traditionally. So you're talking.
That's Juice's nightmare.
Oh, tell me about it.
We got a lot of ground to cover.
If we get the cards, like I told Juice, like that the gangsterness, like if we can get just the data slates. And I just need one data slate for my Helldrake, one for my Magnus, one for my Brimstone Horrors, one for my Mauler Fiends. And then I put that in the chapter approved as bookmarks to all the locations that I need. Right? I feel like that's what I'll go to events with.
That's definitely the way to go. Like, I love that aspect.
Like that's what's up.
It looks like they're not putting out the data sheets in the new game aids They're just the special rules for the book itself and not the actual.
They might be waiting until everything's 100% fixed.
That is true as well.
That seems like if they don't put out the actual data sheets and cards, that seems like a lost opportunity. I mean, because that is
like
I have my Stormcast ones for AOS, and I love those things as big as they are. I mean, that's the only beef I have with them is I wish they were tarot card size. But they're amazing. They're really cool, and I would love to have that for 40K. So it's just kind of like if they're just putting out. Like, I don't see an incentive if they don't have the data sheets on there. Like, why would I buy them?
Get it right first, though. Like, let them not fuck it up. Because I have like a whole deck of chaos psychic cards. And traders. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, get it right. Don't do me like that again. But I know eventually you will do me like that again. But anyway, guys, let's hit up a commercial break, then come back and talk about this FAQ rundown. Veterans, I've got news for you. Get your best deals online at dicehead.com. Long War Vets, call or email for your best vet deals. That's dicehead.com.
Dear veterans, quickly, make your way to thelongwar.net and find out how to reap your hard-earned spoils of this long war. For our allies at secretweaponsminiatures.com have rewarded us all with an extra 10% discount on all Secret Weapon Miniatures merchandise. So stock up, dear veterans, and enjoy.
ElrixHobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elrix Hobbies. ElrixHobbies.com. And we're back. Robbie B.
All right. Well, once again, we are going to start with X because X is the beginning of the alphabet. Everybody knows this. That's where we're at. So
just trying to put Haspel on a warpath.
I know. It's so good. This tear sustained me. Nothing. Okay, fine.
No, you're not funny. We laugh at you, not with you. I'm sorry to tell you this.
I was muted.
He was so angry. He was yelling. It wasn't just Haspel. It was some people in chat too. They're like, why are you starting with X? I was like, I don't know. It's the first one to open. I don't know what to tell you. All right. So Xenos 1 rundown. All right. First up, we got the Ravager. Now, how should we do this? Because should I just read it and get you guys' thoughts? I guess probably that's it on this one, right?
Yeah, that's what we always traditionally do.
Okay.
Let us know what it is, and we'll lend an opinion one way or the other.
All right, so this is going to be a twofer here. It's both on the Ravager. So page 64, if you're following along at home or while you're driving, you shouldn't be reading books, by the way. Change this ability. This is the Ravager. Night Shield has been changed to this model has a 5-up invulnerable save against ranged weapons, and also added the following ability. Hovering distances and ranges are measured to and from the model's hull, even though it has a base. What do you think, Kenny?
Oh, that's the opposite of how I interpreted it earlier when you told me. So that makes sense because it's always historically had a 5-up invulnerable. It's good to see that now that vehicles can run around and charge people that it's not a 5-up invulnerable in close combat. And I've always said that the Raider chassis is the weirdest chassis to measure from the hull on. And I'm shocked that they kept that.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think a 5-up invulnerable, I actually build lists where I'm like, what has a 5-up invulnerable? That's what I want in my army. Is it good? Nope. All right, let me find the next one that's good. It's 5-up invuln is my favorite save in the game right now. And so when I was playing Ravagers, I was pumped that I had it all the time. It makes a lot more sense have it being just in the shooting phase. Also, I'm cool with shooting from the hull. It is definitely pretty advantageous considering like that same chassis is like the Raider, and that damn point of the tip of that Raider is pretty long. So being able to shoot all your blasters from that point, and also point of view. is pretty good too, because remember, true line of sight, all I got to do is get the tip of that dorsal fin, or not dorsal fin, excuse me, tip of that point of that vessel past
It's called the shock prow.
The shock prow, past the rock, and I can see you.
Remember when people used to assault from the tip of that? They'd be like, all right, I'm going to.
Oh, yeah. That's
it was like an extra 2 inches with the witch cult, man.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I got charged a lot of times because of that shock prow, man.
All right. And Haspel.
Sir, what you had here was what we refer to as a focused, non-terminal, repeating phantasm, or a class 5 full roaming vapor. A real nasty one, too.
Such a good quote.
All right. Next up on the Xenos list. Now, there's a couple of things in here. We kind of talked briefly about it, but there's a change to strength from death. And there's also an additional restriction to the Army of the Reborn. So I'll just kind of hit both of those a little bit. So first off, Army of the Reborn is the Ynnari themselves. So it says, if the warlord of your army now is either Yvrain, the Visarch, or the Incarnate, then with the exception of Homunculus Coven units, Urian Raykarth, Drazar, Mandrakes, and Avatar, any Eldari unit can also be Ynnari. Now, previously, it was just straight up. Like, you could just be like, with the exception of these units. But now it says your warlord has to be Yvrain, the Visarch, or the Incarnate. What do you guys think about that? Start with Kenny.
I mean, I literally don't care about much of Xenos scum. Like, whatever, man.
Good answer.
I just know it's going to be some bullshit. I'm going to fucking bitch about it the whole time and try to get some Helldrakes in close combat.
It makes sense. I'm with it. Don't let the Incarn needs to be the guy who's the leader anyway.
I mean, thematically speaking, that's kind of how it's supposed to be, right?
I'm with it.
And Haspel.
Ed, what an ugly thing to say. Does this mean we're not friends anymore? You know, Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
And strength from death was changed. It says that unit can immediately do one of the following, even if it has already done so in this turn. If the unit was destroyed as a result of a unit's action, e.g. make a shooting attack or fighting, the soul burst action is resolved after the unit has completely resolved its current action, i.e. after it has completed all of its shooting or after it's finished all of its fighting, including making any consolidation moves. So a departed change from what it used to previously be, where you could kind of interrupt and have turns and inside of turns, right?
Yeah, this is way better.
Yeah, this is way better.
It was so obnoxious before.
This tones it down, and it basically means where you have to, instead of an interrupting of an action, you have to finish your turn. Basically, you have to finish something and then make an action. So it slows things down. The immediately stopping what you're doing in the middle of a combat, in the middle of this, like you do everything and then go back to it. Still really good, but I would have to say not as strong as it once was.
And Haspel.
It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
And one of the very last things on the Xenos is they changed the Visarch to having a 4+ invulnerable save, which for a lot of Ynnari players, probably a big victory on their side, especially now that they're kind of requiring you to maybe take that as part of your army. What do you think, Kenny?
Makes sense. If they make it so that you need to take it more often, or it's now a choice to unlock some other things, make them a little bit cooler. You know, like make me not feel like I've been cheated, but with a tax unit. You know, give me that for the marble.
Yeah, makes sense. I have no opinion.
Haspel's still angry about me starting with X.
No, I was laughing at what you said, but
I have no opinion.
Yeah. I'm scared if I stop drinking all at once, the cumulative hangover will literally kill me.
Literally.
That's how I feel about when people tell me their Eldar models need to have a 4 invulnerable save.
So I like how you took the more PC answer there. All right, on to rulebook, because R comes after X. Everybody knows this. Rerolls. The very first thing on here was just a slight clarification, but I feel like we needed to talk about it. So you can never reroll a dice more than once, and rerolls happen before modifiers. Everybody knows this. We're not stupids, right? But if a roll allows you to reroll a result that was made by adding several dice together, i.e. 2d6, 3d6, etc., then unless otherwise stated, I'm just going to throw parentheses, command points, parentheses in there. You may roll all of those dice again. So I would say the most stunning use of this is probably like reroll charge assistance. You have to physically pick up both dice and reroll it, which may or may not have been 100% clear in the original rules. What do you guys think, Kenny?
I feel like as a veteran tournament player, like I never had an issue. Like that was the obvious interpretation for me. But if GW is, getting data from all these other places, I guess enough people asked about that it made the FAQ.
Agreed. I read it this way the entire time.
I feel you there too. Hassel.
You run your mouth awful reckless for a man. Don't go healed.
And then something else that we talked about a couple podcasts ago, I feel like, was understrength units. So now it has been changed to saying if you are playing a match play game, you can only include an understrength unit in an auxiliary support detachment, which I believe, isn't that the one that gives you -1 command point?
Damn, they didn't even go with they didn't even just clarify the wording. Like what Haspel had been talking about the whole time, where like we were just like having a semantic argument over like what the phrasing was. They couldn't even just clarify the phrasing to be like, no, you only get one in your army. Because it's like I fucking said, they don't want you to take one. They want you to buy all these little start collecting boxes that are $15 that give you 3 Plague Marines and fucking 6 Pock-Walkers. And they want you to put those in your armies. And because of the immediate outcry from the community that this is exploitable, they said, okay, you can take them as -1 command point auxiliaries. So that to me proves my point from that show.
Wait though, didn't they say you can only take one though? Like in match play?
That was what ITC had. Like,
yeah, that's what ITC said.
Like I think they had just straight up said you don't get these.
Yeah.
Like you don't get these is what they said. And then
well, see, this just says like goes to show too. Like you got 3 FAQs coming out, and then you've got ITC FAQs coming out, and now things just start to get convoluted because you got ITC FAQ or saying they're not going to use something from an FAQ that came out 2 weeks ago, and now week 3 we have this FAQ. It's so much stuff to try to learn, like who's FAQ where. I just really hate to get it.
This is fundamental proof because GW FAQ'd this. This same thing, this is one of those things that Juice was talking about. They said Understrike Unix has this new paragraph. And now they've said, oh, whoa, we fucked up with that paragraph. This is what we really meant. Which our whole argument, to reiterate, was simply we thought that we were just reading the first paragraph wrong, that people were misinterpreting it. Because the way we read it was you only get one Understrike unit. But people were saying, no, you can have as many as you want. And so GW, I thought they were going to FAQ it saying, no, you just get one. No, they FAQ'd it the opposite, which means the suspicion was correct. It's literally they want you to take they want you to fucking buy these 3 model box sets and play them in your armies, but they're saying you're gonna be at -1 command point. So.
Yeah, and again, and then I'm sorry, the only thing I want to reiterate to people is this is, what we talked about ATC is like everybody complaining about playing 5 Storm Ravens. It's like, well, if you never put yourself in a situation to play them, you're never going to. If you're playing a narrative player, this and this, the argument of someone saying, well, no one's ever going to do that because of this, because of X. It doesn't matter. Like we're just looking at the rules, and because they FAQ'd it that way, everybody's original suspicion of how people thought that they wanted something to be done was right.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and that was a fast turnaround, Rob. That was fast turnaround. They just FAQ'd it. And so I did see some people earlier in the chat saying, oh no, GW was already planning FAQ and some of these things and that. And I was like, maybe they were.
But I mean, this was like
not this one. They literally.
Well, here's the thing. I think that's an as elegant a ruling as the flyer one, because the whole reason people wanted to do that whole understrength nonsense was to get as many command points as they want.
Yeah, so that was just like that was.
So they could unlock the brigade or whatever, right?
Yeah, it was purely exploitive.
So it's like, take the brigade and now take all your min troops, which will knock all your command points way down anyway. So if you really wanted to thematically, for some reason, go, I'm going to play with one, Battle Sister, one Space Marine, one Astra Militarum guy, one, you know what I mean, of each different type. You can do that if you wanted to thematically for whatever reason, but the whole exploit is gone. So I think that's a brilliant.
No, I like it. I like the FAQ. It just proves my point that I had made.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's literally the whole purpose of the initial FAQ, because this is the FAQ of the FAQ, which to me, it's two reasons. It proves two things. It proves that GW is not writing these FAQs months in advance. They're writing them on the fly, because that element of this FAQ is in direct response to something they already FAQ'd. And then obviously all the stuff that happened at ATC clearly here.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. That's good.
No, literally, it's a good thing. I'm all in. It needed to get FAQ'd. I wish they had just FAQ'd the verbiage to say you only take one, but that means that wasn't their intent. So our interpretation of the wording was wrong.
Yeah, truth. I agree with you now. I see what you're getting at now. I misheard what you were saying earlier.
A lot of things.
So yeah, I mean, you look at this and you have an FAQ on top of an FAQ. Like the previous like change was from the last one, and now you have this thing in magenta underneath it. So yeah, it's kind of weird.
They're gonna have to get a new color. They're gonna have to get like magenta is for March, cyan is for April, because it's gonna be like that soon.
All right, let's go on to ruins. This one is a little sticky too. So they changed the rules for ruins in the third paragraph to for the text to read: infantry units can be entirely on or within a ruin, or that are entirely on or within a ruin receive the benefits of cover. Other units that are entirely on or within a ruin only receive the benefit of cover if at least 50% of every model is obscured from the point of view of the shooting model. So that's a little different. They added the on or within terminology here to this.
And listen, I just want to clarify why that.
I heard you just say entirely though when you read that.
Entirely or within.
Other units that are entirely on, so they're entirely
on within.
Or within. Within just means they're touching it.
So no, we had this. No, it says entirely on or within. We had this whole 15-minute talk about within, and I didn't hear you say the word entirely.
No, I said entirely on or within. I didn't say entirely within.
No, entirely on or
entirely
within.
On or within.
It means both.
Say within again. Say within. I dare you. I double dare you.
We had a 10-minute argument about this.
I literally read it.
And we came to the opposite conclusion. And I just heard you read it again. I'm like, I didn't hear the entirely on or within part. So yes.
You guys made me read it twice. There's no way I messed it up.
Okay, you're right.
So let me just clarify for anybody who's driving around and listen, like, what are these guys going off on? Okay, so as the rules were written before, you had to go to terrain to figure out what your cover save and how much you needed to be in that. You had to go to the front of the rule book to where line of sight and cover, and then you go back to the name pieces of terrain in the back of the book where it's battlescape, ruins, whatever the case may be. So a ruin, it said you needed to be on or within the terrain, blah, blah, blah. And then in the beginning of the book, it says, well, if you're not infantry models, because we're referring to specifically tanks, monstrous creatures, this and this, it said as long as you were 50% obscured. Well, when you put those side by side, it doesn't say that you just have to, how the rules were written, you could take a ruin that was, 8x3 or in some oval shape and toe touch as many vehicles as you can. The vehicles in the back that are toe touching is obscured from the line of sight of the shooter. So now that model is getting a cover save only because it is going after both key points. It is obscured by 50% of the viewer. It doesn't say 50% of the viewer from the piece of terrain. It just has to be obscured. And then furthermore, it just has to be partially within or whatever the verbiage is. And it doesn't say wholly within.
It does. So, this one does.
Now it does. No, this one, I was just prefacing. I was prefacing what it was before and what they FAQ'd it.
20-minute discussion we just had.
So now this is a quality fix. I like this.
Because we were like, why did they even write this? Like, because we didn't catch it. Yeah, no, this is a quality fix. You're right.
How about you, Haspel?
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with Earth's gravitational pull?
All right, jumping over to chaos. So first up in chaos, Kairos Fate Weaver got his ethereal form, so now he's just like all his other Zinchi friends.
I can't believe he didn't have it. He's like the first entry in the zine section, doesn't have it. Everybody after him has it. That's what gives you +1 to your demonic save juice. It makes you 4 up and bottle, makes you Zinch.
Yeah.
Motherfucking Kairos Fate Weaver did not have that.
It's kind of like that was a little, and this is FAQ stuff that I like. Like, obviously, small oversight, no worries. The Saint, everybody's like, oh, she doesn't have a unique character. I'm going to take multiple Saints. It's like, if you think that's going to stick, you know.
Because there's definitely more than one Guilliman. Everybody knows that. Yeah, that's just silly. Haspel.
I was muted again. My bad. Switch your deflectors on. Double front.
You weren't lying.
Another one in Chaos series. When I manifest warp time psychic power, can I select the unit that arrived on the battlefield as a reinforcement this turn? And the answer is yes.
Oh yeah, this is the heat.
Is that the shake and bake?
Yeah, it's the shake and bake. That's the Raptors, the Terminators, anything you want. You warp time their asses. I mean, and you can do some crazy toe dragon as you've seen, right? So you can, like, I love this combo with Warp Talons. Remember Warp Talons? No one ever fucking played them.
Mm-hmm.
They're demons. They have lightning claws. They have jump backs, and they have this rule that if they assault you the turn they drop in, you don't get the Overwatch. So that plus this plus maybe Changeling could be pretty clutch. I don't know if there were Zine demons. So I'm pretty happy as a Chaos player.
What do you
Seems good. Need no opinion on it.
Juice, have you played any Chaos people yet? Like Warp Time is like a linchpin.
Oh, no. I mean, it is. But like my thing is you are the expert Chaos player. It's like, what kind of opinion could I lend that you already didn't showcase? So I was just bowing to your excellence.
Warp Time is the reason Magnus the Red has a 32-inch move.
I wish my models had Warp Time.
Yeah.
And Haspel.
Remember the 5 Ds of dodgeball: dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Before we read any more, I'm sorry. Haspel has been absolutely slaughtering these. In my opinion, I'm talking about Haspel. You are like batting.
I don't believe. At this point, I think he's gone through his content and he's looking at a website. There's no way he's doing it.
Oh my gosh! Like
you would be surprised, Kenny.
Dude, literal gangster.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Wow, Robbie.
Damn, it feel good to be a gangster.
Yeah.
Like, you would be surprised when you're on ICBM duty how many movies you can watch over and over again.
Austin Power Gold member. I have not seen any movie more times in a row than I saw that movie because of my game store back like in 2002 when I opened my game store, or 2004. Literally, first off, that's a tiny dog alert. Anybody now listening along playing the drinking game knows that they gotta take a drink. But it literally was on in the background of my store 24 hours a day for 12 months. Like, because we were poor. So, like, we had a DVD player, a DVD, a fucking tube TV. And this thing was on the whole time. Every goddamn line of that movie. I saw that movie more times than The Lion King when I was like 9.
Oh, wow. It looks like Godzilla, but due to international copyright laws, it's not. Gold member. Boom.
All right, well, this next one's for you, Haspel. Corvus Blackstar, the Infernum Halo launcher, changed its ability to read. You can reroll save rolls of 1 for this model if it is equipped with an Infernum Halo launcher, and it has the supersonic ability.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I mean, I wish it didn't caveat that I can't be in hover and use it, but I'll take that because the earlier version was hot garbage. It was no good at all. So I'm very glad that I can reroll 1s now. Seems pretty good. I'm digging that one.
What do you think, Kenny?
Oh, anything that helps Haspel make it rain 4-ups like he did for us at Adepticon with those Corvus Black Stars, I'm into.
Jeez.
This is one of those that it won't affect a lot of people, but makes a lot of sense. Last edition, they re-rolled their Jinx save. Like that's what that piece of War Gear did before. So why would it be anything different? I love it, and I endorse that also. Haspel making 4-up Jinx saves is clutch. So I'm with that.
There is a sad part to this, though, is if you're using the digital index, and I don't know if they fixed it yet. They haven't fixed mine yet. Like the stats are like moved over a bit on the Corvus Blackstar. So when I was making a list, I was using the digital index, and it has a 2-up save in the digital index. But you can see that it's a mistake because it has like a 3+, and then things are just like moved over, and it adds a 2-up. So when I originally was playing, I was like, this thing has a 2-up save. It's ridiculous. Like how do people not know about this flyer? Why don't I see everybody playing with them? And then it was like, turns out at the tournament, I'm using the printed index, and I'm like, man, I could have sworn this thing had a 2-up save. Sad face.
Kind of like when Rob Bear thought that Carn of Betrayal had a 2-up armor save.
Everybody knows he has a 2-up.
Back in 2 Adepticons ago.
Turns out, like back 2 Adepticons ago, when we thought Lucius the Eternal had Eternal Warrior.
Yeah, turns out he doesn't.
Turns out he doesn't. We
Semantics.
Apologize to those guys. We're like, I still remember that. I was like, oh, he has Eternal Warrior. And then Kenny like leans over. Nah, he doesn't have Eternal Warrior. I'm like, are you sure? Pull out the codex.
His name is literally Lucius
the Eternal. Yeah. Furthermore,
like,
we don't have to.
Dude, we've been cheating you.
Haspel, we don't have to say apologize for that because we literally got curb stomped anyway because we were playing Lucius the fucking Eternal.
True.
So I think our opponents were like, I think their exact words were like, please continue to have Eternal Warrior on that model. Don't worry. Here, make 4 Stormbolter saves. Okay, Lucius the Eternal is now dead.
Yes.
This last one here, I guess is more for me than anybody because I seem to be the only one with them anymore. But can a tank commander or a knight commander Pask issue a tank order to themselves? And the answer is no. And somebody said in the chat, they're like, well, it's not technically a aura ability. It's a
command. Yeah,
it's a command or it's an order. But I get that. But I still want to say.
But as a precedent, they've established it. Like it doesn't need to be aura ability. Honestly, it's just like if you need to pick something with the following keyword and it needs to be within X distance of this model. And you happen to also have that keyword because you're the fucking model in that army casting it. That's basically what that blurb meant, right?
And I think it was Regiment Acadian or whatever, and that was the only reason I was even running Acadian.
So I'm saying, can you cast Warp Time on yourself? Like it says, you can cast Warp Time on any friendly model with the Hereticus, Astartes, whatever, within 3 inches. So I'm like, yeah me. Right?
I hope so.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Juice? I know you played them in the past.
Yeah, I don't believe that this is the way it should be, but what can I say?
Imagine like Commander Pask, like Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen, just like yelling at people.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy. It's like Pask isn't the one driving the vehicle and shooting the mortars or shooting the weapons or anything else. He's literally got a crew down there. So in my opinion, I believe they should win the opposite way with it. Like Pask over the Voxcaster is going to make another tank hit on a better bliss skill, move faster, whatever else. Just imagine the wrath that Pask is going to be able to bestow upon his thrallings when he is inches away from you. I believe that my driver, if I'm Pask, my driver is going to go faster than when I say it over the Voxcaster because, he could be like, if you don't do this, I will kill you. Well, the other guy might not live through the battle. Like Pask will literally sever your head while you're driving and make the gunner now drive. Like, I'm just saying, I'm going to go faster if Pask is yelling at me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little disheartening. I guess I'm just gonna look at the Deathcore Krieg rules now and see if I can get anything cool with that. I hear mortars are good. Here Indirect Fire is good. We'll see from that. Celestine might be good too. Maybe I'll put her in. I like my Shadow Sword, and I cannot lie. So that's I think that is. Wait, was there a Xenos 2? Nah, this is just Eldarn. Or this is just Tau. Oh, well, yeah.
Just Tau. Yeah.
Just Tau. Nobody cares.
I guess we should say that there was a whole bunch of Space Wolf changes too. There was so many that I was just like, this is too many to even talk about in a sort of organized fashion.
Yes, it's like a solid magenta 7 paragraphs.
Yeah, it's just come on, guy, killing me here. They did change velocity tracker to read add 1 to hit rolls for this model, and it shoots at a unit that can fly. Which may be worth mentioning just off the cuff. And that's pretty much it that I see in here. But of course, we know the new Space Marine Codex is coming this weekend, and there's tons of changes in there from points cost to new relics and stratagems and all sorts of fun, exciting things. So I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about next week about all that goodness. Coming soon to a Long War live event near you.
Reliance prefix code is 16309.
You just know the Reliance. You just know that?
I just know that. Why don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Stupid.
Read a book, McLovin.
That's right. We're all with you, sir. But consider this: we are free. We have a ship and the means to go where we will. We have escaped permanent exile on City Alpha 5. You have defeated the plans of Admiral Kirk. You do not need to defeat him again. He tasks me, and I shall have him. I shall chase him round the moons of Nibia and round Antari's maelstrom and round Perdition's flames before I give him up. Best movie ever.
Literally,
Conan the Barbarian.
Except for Conan the Barbarian. Okay.
And let's not get it twisted. Highlander and Master.
Well, okay, obviously, Highlander is the best movie ever made. We know that. So when we're talking about that, when we say the best movie, we don't mean Highlander. We know it's the greatest movie.
Yeah, that's the greatest movie ever made. Ever. It won an award. Yeah, it won an award for it.